In the twilight of their dying star, the Zirans and the Ankari reached out across the void. These two alien species, born of the same cosmic dust, were bound by a shared ancestry and divided by ambition. The Zirans, architects of boundless technology, sought to preserve their legacy through unyielding order. The Ankari, masters of energy and resonance, pursued a harmonious balance with the universe. Eons ago, as their sun collapsed into a nova, they forged an uneasy pact. Each species would journey to a new world, far from the ashes of their home. They would seed their knowledge, shaping the destiny of those who came after them. But deep in their cores, they carried the seeds of rivalry. The Zirans chose the oceans of Earth as their sanctuary. They raised a city of light and steel beneath the waves, a fortress they named Atlantis. Its towers pulsed with a perpetual energy harvested from the planet's magnetic field. To them, Earth was a laboratory, a place to experiment with controlling life itself. The Ankari, guided by their reverence for harmony, settled in the deserts of Earth. They erected monuments of stone and resonance, embedding their wisdom in the fabric of the land. Their stronghold, Kemeru, later known as Egypt, became a sanctuary of balance, where energy flowed freely between the heavens and the earth. For centuries, the Zirans and Ankari communicated through the crystalline transmitters they had left on their home world. These devices, scattered across the stars, carried their messages in the form of light and sound. The conversations were strained but necessary, warnings of natural disasters, discoveries of universal laws, and, increasingly, veiled threats. "You poison the oceans with your experiments," an Ankari message once warned. The resonance of their voices echoed across the crystalline network. "You risk the balance of this world. And you stagnate in your temples of stone," the Zirans replied, their tone cutting. "Your balance is complacency." The messages grew darker as each colony's ambitions unfolded. The Zirans began to modify the life forms of the ocean, creating hybrid creatures to serve as soldiers and workers. The Ankari harnessed the power of celestial alignments, embedding it in their obelisks and pyramids, creating weapons that could manipulate the planet's very energy fields. One fateful day, the crystalline network went silent. The final message sent was a warning. A voice, trembling with urgency, echoed from the depths of Kemeru. "Do not activate the oscillator. It will destroy us all." But the Zirans ignored it. Deep beneath the waves of Atlantis, their greatest experiment, the oscillator activated, creating a catastrophic resonance that tore through the fabric of Earth's energy. The world shuddered. Oceans rose, deserts churned, and the sky burned with unnatural light. In the chaos, the cities of Atlantis and Kemeru fell into silence. The Zirans vanished beneath the waves, their city swallowed by the fury they had unleashed. The Ankari retreated, their monuments left as cryptic reminders of their existence. Humanity, fragile and unaware, inherited a world scarred by the ambitions of its ancient visitors. But the story didn't end there. Beneath the sands of Egypt and the Atlantic depths, the remnants of these alien colonies slumbered. Their crystalline transmitters, still intact, waited patiently. And now, thousands of years later, they had begun to awaken, transmitting faint signals once more. Deep within the Sahara, in a hidden chamber beneath the Sphinx, a forgotten transmitter pulsed with life, sending out a single haunting message in a language no human could understand. "The war is not over. The key lies within your hands." The message echoed across the globe, resonating with technology in ways human scientists couldn't explain. Satellites malfunctioned, seismographs picked up untraceable tremors, and across every major ocean and desert, strange, rhythmic pulses began to emerge, patterns that defied nature. At the University of Cairo, Dr. Ilara Jansen watched in awe as the faint signal projected onto her laboratory monitors. She and her team had been analyzing seismic anomalies near the Sphinx for months, but this was something else. The symbols were unmistakable hieroglyphs, yet entirely alien in design, their geometry impossibly precise. "Ilara," Tarek said, breaking the silence, "these symbols, they're not just language. They're coordinates." Ilara leaned forward, her fingers dancing over the keyboard as she overlaid the data onto a global map. "Coordinates for what?" she murmured. Tarek hesitated, his eyes widening as the patterns converged on two locations. One deep beneath the Atlantic Ocean, near the supposed site of Atlantis, and the other directly beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza. We're looking at a relay system, Tarek said, his voice trembling. These aren't just coordinates. They're a circuit. Ilara's heart raced. A circuit designed to reconnect the two colonies. As if on cue, the laboratory's lights flickered, and the symbols on the monitor began to shift. The patterns grew more complex, their fractal shapes expanding outward until they filled the screen. Then, without warning, the symbols transformed into a map of Earth as it must have appeared eons ago, green where there was now desert, islands dotting the Atlantic where now there was only ocean. A voice, synthetic yet strangely melodic, filled the room. It spoke in an alien language, but somehow, its meaning resonated in their minds. Two seeds of the same star. Divided by ambition. United by fate. Ilara and Tarek exchanged a glance, their unease palpable. The symbols continued to change, morphing into schematics, technologies far beyond human comprehension. Ilara recognized shapes reminiscent of the pyramids and obelisks of Egypt, but also strange, towering spires that seemed to rise from the ocean floor. This is technology, Ilara whispered. It's showing us how to activate something. Tarek's voice was barely audible. What if it's a weapon? Before Ilara could respond, a high-pitched tone filled the room, and the screen went black. The symbols reappeared, but this time they were accompanied by a countdown. What's happening? Tarek asked, his voice panicked. Ilara's eyes darted to the monitor. It's counting down to a synchronization event. The two colonies, if they're still operational, are about to reconnect. The countdown ticked closer to 0, and the world began to feel the effects. Across the Atlantic, seismic activity spiked near the suspected site of Atlantis. Deep-sea probes picked up unusual energy signatures, and naval vessels reported glimpses of glowing structures rising from the depths. Meanwhile, in Egypt, tremors shook the ground near the Great Pyramid, and locals reported strange lights emanating from its apex. Ilara's phone buzzed with frantic messages from colleagues around the world. One image stood out, a blurry photo of a massive translucent structure emerging from the ocean, its surface shimmering with the same fractal patterns as the hieroglyphs. It's happening, Tarek said. The colonies are waking up. Ilara grabbed her field bag. We have to go to the pyramid. If there's any chance of understanding this, of stopping this, we need to be there. As they rushed to the site, the countdown reached its final moments. All across the planet, ancient transmitters activated, their signals merging into a single, deafening pulse. The ground shook, the oceans roared, and the sky filled with streaks of light as the hidden relics of Earth's alien past began to stir. At the heart of the Great Pyramid, Ilara and Tarek stood before a glowing chamber door, its surface inscribed with the same alien hieroglyphs that had haunted their research. The pulse from the transmitters seemed to resonate with the door, and as the countdown reached 0, it slid open with an eerie mechanical grace. Inside, a figure stood waiting, tall, crystalline, and impossibly ancient. Its luminous eyes regarded them with a mixture of curiosity and something that could almost be called recognition. The voice from the transmitters echoed once more, this time emanating from the figure itself. The war must end. But first, you must choose a side. Ilara froze, her breath catching in her throat. The figure, alien yet eerily humanoid, stepped forward. Its translucent form refracted the dim light within the chamber, casting intricate patterns onto the walls. It raised a hand, not in aggression, but in invitation. Choose a side? Tarek whispered, his voice trembling. The figure's eyes glowed brighter, and the alien hieroglyphs etched into the walls flared to life, forming images that seemed to float in the air. Ilara and Tarek were surrounded by scenes of devastation and creation. Great battles waged in the skies, colossal waves swallowing cities, and towers of unimaginable technology rising from the ruins. The holograms told a story, a warning. Ilara found her voice. "Who are you?" she asked, her words echoing in the chamber. The figure tilted its head, as if considering how much to reveal. Its voice resonated directly in their minds, bypassing speech entirely. "I am Sarikar, a sentinel of the Ankari legacy. You stand at the convergence of history, where the seeds of our division must either unite or destroy this world." Ilara felt a strange sensation, as though her thoughts were being gently probed. "The war," she said, piecing together fragments of the holographic story, between the Ankari and the Zirans, it never truly ended. Sarikar nodded. It merely paused. The Zirans sought dominance through control and manipulation. We, the Ankari, believed in balance and resonance. This world was meant to be a sanctuary, but ambition turned it into a battlefield. The oscillator disrupted the balance, and both colonies fell silent. Now, the Zirans stir once more. If they awaken fully, they will not stop until this planet bends to their will. Tariq stepped closer, his fear giving way to curiosity. And what about you? If we side with the Ankari, what happens? The Sentinel's form shimmered, and the holograms shifted to show a vision of harmony. Pyramids and temples, glowing with energy, radiated a golden light that seemed to heal the land. Oceans were calm, the air clear, and humanity thrived alongside the remnants of Ankari technology. With us, balance can be restored. The energy of this planet will no longer be a weapon but a force for renewal. Ilara hesitated, her mind racing. And the Zirans? What would they say if we asked them? The Sentinel's glow dimmed slightly, as if in sadness. The Zirans do not ask for trust. They take. Their awakening has already begun beneath the oceans. Even now, their scouts seek to re-establish the oscillator. If they succeed, there will be no choice left to make. Before Ilara could respond, the ground beneath them trembled violently. A low, resonating hum filled the air, a sound that seemed to come from the depths of the earth itself. Sarikar turned sharply toward the chamber's entrance. They are here. The words sent a chill through Ilara. Who's here? The Zirans' agents, Sarikar said. They have awakened their sentinels, and they know you've discovered this place. As if on cue, a deafening roar echoed through the pyramid. The walls shuddered, and the faint blue glow of Sarikar's hieroglyphs dimmed, replaced by harsh, angular red lines that slashed across the chamber. Tariq stumbled back. Ilara, we need to get out of here. But Sarikar raised a hand, and a protective barrier enveloped the chamber. Leaving is no longer an option. The Zirans will hunt you, regardless of where you go. The choice must be made now. Will you stand with the Ankari, or will you allow the Zirans to reclaim dominion over this world? Ilara's mind raced. She thought of the strange structures rising from the Atlantic, the seismic disturbances, the signals that had disrupted global systems. The Zirans weren't just waking up, they were already preparing for war. But what if Sarikar wasn't telling the whole truth? What if the Ankari's balance came at a cost humanity couldn't bear? What happens if we choose neither? She asked, her voice steady despite the fear coiling in her chest. Sarikar's glowing eyes dimmed. Then this world will burn in their conflict. Humanity will be caught in the crossfire, as you were millennia ago. Another tremor shook the pyramid, and the distant roar grew louder. Ilara could feel the weight of the moment pressing down on her, the gravity of a choice that would define not only her life but the future of the planet. She turned to Tariq, whose face was pale but resolute. What do we do? He asked. Ilara looked back at Sarikar, then toward the chamber's entrance, where faint red lights now flickered, signaling the approach of something far worse than tremors. She drew a deep breath, steeling herself. We fight, she said. But not for either of you. We fight for us. Sarikar's form flickered, and for the first time, the alien being seemed genuinely surprised. A dangerous path, it said, but perhaps, a necessary one. The glow of the hieroglyphs brightened once more, and Sarikar extended its hand. Then take the Ankari's tools. They are yours now, if you are bold enough to wield them. Ilara hesitated only a moment before reaching out. As her fingers touched the alien's crystalline form, a surge of energy coursed through her. In an instant, she saw it all: Ankari technology, Ziran weaponry, and the delicate threads of Earth's energy that bound them together. The door to the chamber burst open, and shadowy forms emerged, tall, angular beings with glowing red eyes and sleek metallic bodies. The Zirans had arrived. Ilara tightened her grip on the alien energy flowing through her veins. Let's make this world ours again. The Ziran sentinels stepped into the chamber, their metallic frames gleaming with the faint red glow of their energy cores. Their movements were unervingly fluid, as though they were alive but unbound by the constraints of flesh. One of them raised an arm, and the red energy intensified, forming a jagged blade of pure light. Tariq stumbled backward, his eyes wide. Ilara, what do we do? Ilara, still connected to Sarikar, felt a rush of clarity. The anchory energy within her illuminated the room, casting golden ripples across the chamber walls. She extended her hand instinctively, and a shimmering shield of light appeared, blocking the Zirans' first strike. "We fight," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. "And we survive." The Zirans advanced, their weapons humming with lethal energy. Ilara's mind worked in overdrive, guided by the anchory knowledge flooding her thoughts. She could see the delicate web of energy threads connecting everything in the room, the hieroglyphs, the Zirans, even the ancient structure of the pyramid itself. "Sarika," she said, her voice sharp, "if we're going to stand a chance, I need more than knowledge. I need power." The alien being's crystalline form shimmered. "The anchory's tools are already within you. Focus, and they will manifest." Ilara closed her eyes and reached deep into the energy coursing through her. She felt it respond, a warm, resonant pulse that seemed to synchronize with her heartbeat. When she opened her eyes, her hands were aglow with golden light, and a curved staff of energy formed in her grip. Its ends crackled with a radiant, harmonic power. The Zirans hesitated for a moment, as if recalculating their strategy. Then they surged forward as one. Ilara swung the staff, and a wave of golden energy erupted from its tip, colliding with the nearest Ziran sentinel. The creature's body fractured under the impact, shards of its metallic frame scattering across the chamber. But the others pressed on, their blades cutting through the air with terrifying precision. Tarek scrambled to avoid one of the strikes, ducking behind a fallen piece of the chamber wall. "A little help here," he shouted. Ilara turned her focus to him, raising her staff. A barrier of golden light enveloped Tarek just as another sentinel's blade descended. The weapon struck the shield and rebounded with a flash of sparks. "I'm trying," she yelled back, sweat beading on her forehead. The anchory energy was powerful, but it was also overwhelming, threatening to consume her if she didn't keep it under control. Sarika moved beside her, its crystalline form pulsing with its own light. "The Zirans are relentless. You must disable the oscillator before they fully awaken their forces." Ilara glanced toward the chamber's far wall, where the holograms had displayed the map earlier. In the center of the room, a pedestal rose from the ground, its surface covered in intricate hieroglyphs. "The oscillator's activation controls. How do I destroy it?" she asked. Sarika's form flickered. "Not destroy. Redirect. The energy must flow into the Earth's ley lines, away from their systems. It will require great precision and even greater strength." The Zirans surged again, their weapons glowing brighter as they adapted to her defenses. Ilara gritted her teeth and fought back, her staff slicing through the air and sending arcs of energy at her attackers. Tarek joined the fray, wielding a broken piece of crystal as a makeshift weapon, striking at the joints of the Zirans' bodies. "Ilara," he shouted, his voice urgent. "We can't hold them off forever." She knew he was right. The Zirans were too many, and their precision was flawless. If she didn't act soon, they would be overwhelmed. Ilara made a decision. She dashed toward the oscillator, dodging Ziran strikes as she went. The pedestal glowed brighter as she approached, its hieroglyphs shifting and rearranging themselves. Her mind, still linked to Sarika, translated their meaning instantly, resonance realignment protocol. "I'm doing it," she shouted, placing her hands on the pedestal. The energy surged through her body, almost too much to bear. The golden glow of the anchory power around her intensified, spreading through the chamber like a living thing. The Zirans reacted instantly, their focus shifting to her. They abandoned their pursuit of Tarek and charged toward the oscillator, their weapons raised. Tarek lunged forward, tackling one of them to the ground. "Hurry, Ilara." Her fingers moved instinctively, manipulating the glowing hieroglyphs on the pedestal. The oscillator responded, its hum growing louder and more harmonious. She could feel the earth itself resonating with the energy, its ancient ley lines awakening as the anchory technology realigned the flow. The chamber shuddered violently, and a burst of golden light erupted from the oscillator, sending the Zirans flying backward. The energy radiated outward, not just through the pyramid, but across the desert, the oceans, the entire planet. The Ziran sentinels collapsed, their bodies inert, their energy cores extinguished. The hum of the oscillator grew softer, fading into a gentle, rhythmic pulse. Elara staggered back, her body trembling. She turned to Sarikar, who stood silently, its form dim but steady. "You have bought time," the alien said. "But the Zirans are not defeated. Their forces beneath the oceans will rise again. This is only the beginning." Tariq approached, his face pale but determined. "Then we'll be ready. Right, Elara?" Elara nodded, her gaze hard. "We've seen what they're capable of. Now it's our turn to rewrite the rules." Sarikar's eyes flickered with a faint light, almost like approval. "The choice you have made is bold. But the path ahead will demand more than strength. It will demand unity. Humanity must rise, as we could not, to end this war." Elara gripped her staff, her resolve solidifying. "Then we'll rise together." Far away, in the depths of the Atlantic, something stirred. The Ziran city of Atlantor began to glow, its towers pulsing with red light. The war was far from over. But this time, humanity wasn't just a pawn in the game. They were players.